Stephen, tell me about Spiritualist Resources.
Yeah, certainly Spiritualist Resources is, it's a website I got linked into. It happened because of a video, and a lady called Sarah, she contacted me initially through an email, and then telephoned me from miles away in Vancouver, and it led to quite a few things. One of them being that I do questions and answers for the website, but also I finished up going over to California and doing quite an extensive tour there.
So which video was it that got their interest then?
God, it goes back in time. I think it was the early one when I had a green jumper on. And it was just done ad hoc, as you might say.
Was that the one where we were talking about aliens?
No, I don't think we were talking about aliens. I think really what we were talking about was spiritual things, how I got into doing this work. And I think what attracted Sarah was the common sense style to my work, and I suppose some might say it's matter of fact. Well, in a way it is matter of fact.
Maybe she liked that green jumper.
And most likely, no. The wife didn't appreciate it though.
So what exactly do you do then? What do you offer them?
Well, what it is...
An Englishman's take on this?
Well, I would say, yeah, a universal Englishman's take. I'm a proud Englishman. But no, I think what it does is I answer questions, but also I say it's the common sense side of it, but also because using the metaphor, I have a wide church, so I look at different, shall we say, religions, believers, non-believers, so look really wide across. And what that does is, rather than being in one avenue, hopefully I can get the parameters of a wider view of spiritual things, and so simply answer questions.
Is that quite unusual in your field then? Because would most people have a particular, doctrine or very sort of specific view of all of this, whereas you're a little bit more open-minded across all of the religions and faiths and ideas, and is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's a fair way to look at it, because over the years of the way I've travelled around the world, the different things I've done in life, the variety of life, it allows me to look at it beyond that, and I really cannot find that there is one path that is right. My old spiritual teacher Jack Corbett said there are many paths, but there's only one horizon, and we all see the great horizon. So depending which path you're on, how would you look at it? So I try to look across and try to embrace, some of the great religions of the world, from Judaism right the way across to Islam, but also looking at different views and different perspectives. So that gives me a round vision or a view, and also because I get inspiration from our spiritual companions.
There should be a top 10 of Stephen Wakeling's sayings. There are many paths, but only one horizon.
Indeed there is.
Have you stolen that? Is that one of yours?
That's one of Jack Corbett's.
Is it? Right.
Yes.
There's nothing original, it's all borrowed, isn't it?
Well, that's what I find is strange about websites, where you get people who say it's all copyright, spiritual ones. Copyright, you can't take this or this. We get the information from a great source, and the information is to support. I always remember when I was at school, can't remember much from reading the Bible or being told, but the Good Samaritan, eventually one person helped them, and all the spiritual knowledge is really to help people along the path of life to be able to find within themselves the answer, and know that ultimately that when we leave this world, death is only a physical thing. We're going to enter into the realms of light and beauty.
Let's have a look at a bit more in depth of what you do with Spiritualist Resources. I mean, what sort of question answers do you get? And I'm particularly intrigued about the difference between the UK and the US. I suppose that serves all over the world, doesn't it? But it's mainly US based stuff, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. I've had questions from as far away as Croatia, from Russia, from Pakistan, from India, from China, Peru, Brazil. So really, we're a human family. So we're linked, and the great thing today is we've got this internet where we can link with people. I think it's fantastic. I like Wikipedia because I think it's phenomenal. It's a great thing that we can interlink, and we have common problems that befit people if they're in China as if they're in California.
What would Jesus have done if he'd had the internet? But that ability to kind of connect and broadcast to that number of people in that amount of time is just amazing, isn't it? When you look at Twitter and
well, it is, but it's not just Jesus. You've got other people as well. If you just mention Gandhi, Muhammad, you've got many great lords.
John Wesley.
Precisely, yeah. You've got people.
His tour could have been briefer, couldn't it? Could have just,
it could have saved us a lot of travelling. But the
you could
problem
have
is,
just put it out on Facebook.
yeah, but it's wonderful to have the internet, but you do need the personal touch, and I think that's most important. And I think that Spiritualist Resources gives a personal touch, and it also covers a wide range of spiritual interests, from healing right the way across to the area which I'm not particularly too interested in, is the paranormal.
Right, okay, well, we're going to come back to the paranormal, but what's your kind of beef with the paranormal? Because, you know, from a layman's perspective, you seem steeped in the paranormal. You are the paranormal, so why would you have a problem with it? You know?
Well, I don't know about paranormal. To me, it's quite normal rather than paranormal. No, I'm not. I haven't a problem. What I do worry about is the fact that you know, I think people watch Amityville 502 so many times, and you see, I've put this way: nobody I have found are frightened of the light, only the dark. If you don't know about something, then you have a fear. Perhaps it's part of the human psyche, fight or flight. But what it is important that once we've got knowledge, we don't have any fear. You know, why should we fear going into the world of light? I'll be honest about it, when I've seen anybody who's deceased in this world, you know, sometimes you wonder, why do you want to come back? You've gone to something that's beautiful, that's light. That's why nothing has ever frightened me from the spirit world. They come forward to give you compassion, to give you love, to give you a way forward. But if people want to go and make a living out of frightening people and walking into places with their eyes closed, I'll be honest, if I walked into this room with no light on, I'd most likely be a little bit apprehensive myself.
You'd certainly be injured.
Most likely, until I get a chink of light in the curtain, and then I'll start to get my bearings, and like everything, a small amount of light takes away and receives all darkness.
Yeah, that's another one. That's classic number 2 for today.
Yes.
Tell me about the sort of questions that you get then, because I guess quite a lot of them might be paranormal related, which is kind of why it's coming up now.
Well, not necessarily. I'd say maybe 3 sorts of questions. I think the first one is a really sad one, is when somebody has lost a loved one, a bereaved one, and they're still in that grief. And my view of this is simply that the greater the love, sadly the greater the grief, and the longer. And people say, well, they're in a better place. Well, they might be, but I wish they was here, because you missed them. And I know only too well from the people who I've known and lost. You know, I know I'll be reunited with them one day, but in between I miss them. So that really takes me a lot of time. I can spend as many as a couple of days thinking about it. I don't just sit down and write. And I, excuse the pun, I don't have a ghostwriter. So I take my time. So that's one. Another question is people want to know about spiritual or psychic things. So I need time to explain things like perhaps the aura, orb, spiritual, which to me is spiritual energy. We're all energy. Without it, we wouldn't be in this physical body. It's only the energy that keeps the physical body going. The body has no gifts. It's spiritual. That's the most important. And the last of it is paranormal. And maybe as Sarah would say over in that wonderful country of Canada, she would say that there's just a few questions I don't ask. There's some rather odd ones, you know, like a picture turned into somebody, into a vampire and attacked me. How ridiculous. Why on earth would anybody want to frighten you? What we need to do is feed the mind. And if we feed the mind sees the glory of the greater day. So that is the latter part. But I really find that when people have lost somebody, to give them the support. I don't give them a message. Nobody can be in touch with everybody in this world. What we do is generically and answer it compassionately, understandingly, to give people the key to open the door for themselves and to allow their loved ones to come forward.
That's the perennial question, isn't it? Is if you can contact some people, why can't you contact old people?
Well, I don't know, but I tried on the internet, and when the internet goes down, I can't contact anybody. So, on the telephone, I had somebody wake me this morning, it's the wrong number, and we can get the wrong number. So, there is none of us. That's why I find it so strange in this world. Everybody gets all, well, not everybody, quite a lot of people. Today, I think it's the fame and fortune, the grandeur of being on the television. But what it is a film competition. But we're not in competition. What we are, we get a little bit.
We're naturally competitive creatures, aren't we, I suppose?
Yes, but at the end of the day, the thing that we're seeking is something to give and something to share. You'd be considered a kind of prolific blogger,
particularly if even half of the questions and answers that have gone on with Spiritualist Resources were blog-based. You've got well over 100,000 words.
Yeah, 100,000 words. I find that.
Are they all the same one?
Sorry?
Are they all the same one?
I wish they were. No, everyone is taken individually and everyone is special. What I always say to people is, look through the previous questions, you may find the answer there. But also, you know, I find this is really peculiar. I left school at the age of 14. I've got no qualifications at all. A basic food hygiene certificate, I'm sure it's run out. But I have not. So what I have to work on is not only that my experience in life, and I've got a long way to go to be perfect, and I don't really ever want to be perfect. But what it is it's the inspiration from my companions in light who fill my mind, and also the fact that I've got common sense and I had a phenomenally good spiritual teacher. Put them all together, and a wide vision and a wide view allows me perhaps to help people a little bit with the problems that they may have.
Let's start to close this off. One of the interesting things is how perhaps your work, if you want to call it that, has moved from prolifically doing shows, demonstrations, what would you call them?
Oh, spiritual meetings.
Spiritual meetings to perhaps being a little bit more internet based, doing an awful lot for spiritual resources and starting to shift perhaps a little bit towards smaller meetings and closer. How important is things like Spiritualist Resources to this next phase for you?
Well, I think it surprised me that it has grown and grown and grown, and I've got this great relationship with Sarah. As I say, it took me over to the United States of America, which I really enjoyed. Could have gone down to Mexico, but it's a massive country compared with poor little England. But you can reach people in so many ways. So I think that's an important step. And also, one's got to be realistic. I'm now entering into my 65th year in this world. And do I want to be travelling everywhere? Yes, of course, I go to the great city of Edinburgh and certain places. But one's got to slow down. But maybe I physically have slowed down, but the internet and this technological world we're in is speeding up. So I think it was a great message, and also perhaps I can add my little piece into the mix, into the recipe. And my simple part is common sense, light, peace, and know that eternal life waits for us all, a heartbeat away, just a step ahead in a world of light.
Stephen, I certainly hope you're right on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.